I liked your background today. It looks really nice. Lighting and everything on you, Kara, looks really good.
Me?
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
it's great.
Thank you.
Oh my
Yeah, it
God.
looks it almost looks like a set.
Zoe, why did you start ghostwriting and what have you learned in like the last time you've been doing it?
Well, I started ghostwriting on accident, kind of. I wasn't intending to ghostwrite, but I was in between jobs and I actually was it was my first year of college. It was my freshman year of college. And I've always loved writing and loved reading, and it's been something that I've just naturally been drawn to my whole life. And I was looking for jobs that I could do while also I was I was the primary healthcare provider for my mom. I was taking care of her. So I was looking for things that I could do at home. And this was before the pandemic. This was before everything at home really blew up. And I stumbled onto a video of somebody talking about Upwork. And I was like, I can edit things. I edit my friends' papers and I edit my own stuff all the time. And so originally I went into it doing editing and doing research and assisting people with their academic theses. And then I just kept applying for other things and switched over to more primarily writing. And once I got once I got bit by the bug and realized that I can be creative and write stories and do that primarily, I continued doing it. It was kind of in the background for me for a while I was figuring out what I wanted my career to be, especially throughout college and taking breaks with school and working. I worked very random jobs. I've done very random things. And I always came back to it. And eventually I said, I just need to make this work. I need to figure out how I can make this work. So yeah, that's kind of how I fell into the path.
How long have you been ghostwriting for then?
I've been ghostwriting for 6 years, 7 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's a little crazy.
Do
Wow.
you think that letting people know how many clients or how many books we've written is like a good thing too? Like if you say like, oh, and because in my introduction video, I said something like, our EK team has developed 13 books since October 2022. I didn't say that they were on the Amazon bestseller list, but I feel like we should say that because they are. At least for the first 3 or 4 weeks, because obviously marketing, but that's important. People like to know that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, so I
It's
don't know
it's
what,
true. In FPA, we're told specifically, do not hire somebody that doesn't have at least a handful, like for romance, three full-length novels, for anything into like mystery, at least 4 to 5 full-length novels. Like you must have someone who's experienced.
well, that's an interesting thing, Rebecca. So you deal with FF, what is it called again?
I went through the FPA program.
The FPA. So but you went a different route with your writers because well, I think Zoe and I can't speak for you specifically, Zoe, but I know that I didn't have any cozy mystery writing experience when I met you. I had books. I had lots of books under my belt. I've been writing since like 2019. I've done fiction, nonfiction, lead magnets, white papers. I did not do anything as impressive as people's theses, which is amazing, Zoe, by the way. There are these people that say that they're experts, right? Which is something I want to talk to you guys about in a little while, or on our business development call, because I'm doing research on USA Today stuff, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they are experts. So I think that's something that we're going to be able to do with the Writers Lab is sort of help people follow their gut, right? Like sometimes you don't have to go with what the experts say because it's not going to work right for you.
Mm,
So that's
mm. Kara, I love that because yeah, I mean, I'm a writer and I'm a producer, but I have this vision to create something that I knew I couldn't accomplish on my own. I had to bring other people in to make it as amazing as I wanted it to be. And as I was getting into it and seeking advice and counsel, everyone was telling me it needed to look a certain way. Like if you're going to have a team of writers, then it's a ghostwriter situation and it has to look like X, Y, or Z. And as I started kind of moving on that path, it felt like it just like a shoe that didn't fit, you know? It's like it didn't really fit with my vision. And the better I got to know you guys, the more I realized, oh my goodness, we're all entrepreneurs here, all of us. So I just really started thinking that the industry as a whole doesn't hold space for working as a team. It wants to hold up one person as the person, and then the team kind of fades into the background. Everybody knows they're there, but we just don't talk about it. We're just the people behind the curtain. And so I think that I have really developed a heart for what it looks like to pull the curtain back. And part of that is going to be, I mean, we've done it on our team, but what does that look like to support the industry in doing that? I mean,
yeah.
it's a bold move. But I think maybe one way we can start in that direction is by at least doing something to change the narrative, flipping the script a little bit, and then by just talking about it. Ghostwriters exist, right? It's not, and it's a team effort. We sit around the table and we create together. That's what we do. It's how it's always been done. So let's just talk about it. So that's kind of what this is about for me. I want to just pull the curtain back and start talking about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that was like perfect. The whole time I was listening, I was like, yes.
I don't know. I've always wanted to share knowledge because I think that knowledge is it's really hard for people to obtain. And I was 33 when I started college. I had my children very young, and I went to school later as a non-traditional student. And I was sitting in this religious studies course one time, and this brilliant woman was sitting across from me, and she was not a non-traditional student. She was 23, 24, getting ready to graduate. And the religious studies class I was taking was an advanced class. And here I am, 33 years old, and I don't really, understand what the freaking words are because it's written by a PhD scientist, academic person, and it's up there. And I realized what she was doing was she was just because the professor asked, like, well, what is this person saying? And she just like took the same words and rearranged it. And I was like, okay, so there's that formula, right? But how can we make it so someone like me could understand it? So I like broke that down and sort of made it into layman's terms when he asked me to sort of give my reference. So I think that there's never a wrong way to gain information, but there's definitely a way for people to start learning, and then there's a way for people to grow into like she's my friend, but I don't speak to, anyway, that's neither here nor there. This brilliant woman, she could use all of these huge scientific words and it made sense in her brain, whereas me, I didn't. So I think that knowledge is should be accessible to everybody, no matter what stage you're at, but you still have to, you know, learn. And I think it's important to share that knowledge with everybody.
Right on.
Um, I think this is such a great idea because the idea of authorship in general and the idea of writing and also the idea of being able to make a living creatively in any sense has been one so pounded into the dirt to everybody saying you cannot make a living if you're a creative person, at least in a creative field.
Mm.
Also, I think it's seen as being such a daunting task and something that is so elusive to write books in general. And I think for a long time when I first started ghostwriting, I was taking some kind of shit jobs and being talked down to and being treated how now, as time has gone, I would not allow myself to be talked to that way professionally or
Right.
otherwise. Because I, in my head, was saying, yeah, this sucks. And this is a lot of parameters that I don't want to work under, but I get to write books. And that's a privilege. I get to write books. And so I think something like this that gets to people to see kind of the other side of things and also show them a way where they don't have to sit and be talked down to
Mm.
is something I wish I'd had.
That's amazing.
Thank you for that, Zoe.
We're
So-
gonna get cut off soon.
So it's not just about pulling back the curtain. We also want to elevate the role, bring some dignity to it. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the mission.
It's the mission. Yes, I get to write books, but also people get to work with me as a writer. It's not just a privilege
Exactly.
on my end. It's a privilege on everyone's
Exactly.
end.
Brilliant.